watching the ACC Softball Championship on ESPN. We come to you from the beautiful campus at Duke University, where Florida State, two-time defending champs, comes into town. This time is the #2 seed as they get ready to take on the host and regular season champion Duke Blue Devils. They won this championship 3 years ago and trying to get back on top in the ACC and claw and fight to bring home that trophy yet again. And we welcome you to Duke. Glad you could be with us. We have the top 2 seeds here. Pam Ward along with Jenny Dalton-Hill, National Player of the Year when she won 3 titles at Arizona. And we take a look at these two teams. They know each other well this year.
They do. They faced each other in the regular season. Duke came away with 2 of those wins. Florida State's had 21 hits in the matchup, but Duke, 21 runs. So we're looking for a lot of offense here today.
And let's take a look at what we have seen so far. Duke, 2 10-inning games.
Yeah, in the quarterfinal, it was a pitcher's duel. Gisele with a career-high 17 strikeouts. But then, huge Mina Vega blast, 2-run home run to walk it off. Duke then took on Clemson, another 10-inning game, one when Amaya Burgess barely got her fingertips to the plate. Duke's second 10-inning walk-off win. Florida State has used the home run to cruise to the finals. The most dominant blast was this one, the 4th-inning grand slam by freshman Issa Torres in the semis. It was a 9-run 4th inning that helped create the run rule win over Georgia Tech. So what do you need to watch for in this matchup here today? Well, Florida State, 7 of their 13 hits have been for extra bases. There will be multiple arms in the circle. The defense cannot lose focus. For Duke, in the regular season, they had a ton of hits. They need to make sure that they score early and make sure that they eliminate those extra base hits for Florida State.
So it's the top 2 teams in the ACC. It is a sold-out Duke softball stadium. The Seminoles and Blue Devils coming up next. Everybody wanting 7. Enough of these 10-inning things. We got softball coming up.
The ACC Softball Championship is brought to you by Verbo Private Vacation Rentals. Relax, you booked a Verbo.
That ACC trophy will be handed out a little bit later this afternoon. Duke, the #1 seed, out in the field first. Let's take a look at the potent Florida State lineup led by Kalei.
Yeah, she's been so good at the top, set the tone, had three RBIs in the series and is sitting at 3 for 7 right now. She is the one that has been able to exploit the defense.
And they are facing Gisele in the circle. The ACC Pitcher of the Year won both games as they took 2 out of 3 in their regular season series. And
she also pitched their opener. It was the 10-inning marathon against Boston College. She had 17 strikeouts in that one. It was a career high for her. Had 167 pitches just a couple of days ago. When you see her in the circle, you know that she's going to throw a ton of drop balls. So she throws with a ton of velocity, loves that drop down in the zone, but tunnels a really good changeup as well, and that's hard for hitters to hit. It's got a batting average well below 100.
Falls behind 2-0 to Mudge. This is a rematch of last year's championship game that was played at Notre Dame, a game in which Florida State won in walk-off fashion, 2-1. And the count goes to 3-0 on Mudge. Some early grumblings from all the umpires in the stands wearing Duke blue today. Gets the strike in. And one thing to be cognizant of with Gisele on the left side of your screen, there is the action clock, and she has had some problems with that this year.
She takes quite a bit of time in the circle composing herself, and with that pre-motion point to the left, it eats up a ton of time.
Got it off in plenty of time. Mudge sends it into left field. Amaya Burgess has just been spectacular in the field during this championship. Lonnie Alameda, the head coach, taking her team back to the ACC tournament final, beat Notre Dame 2-0 and exploded for that 9-run inning to beat Georgia Tech in the semifinals yesterday. She has had to deal with a patchwork of pitchers that we'll get into later on in the game, but she has had the pleasure of coaching Jason Beecham, the freshman of the year in the league.
When you talk about impact freshmen around the country, I think this is your #1. I have circled her all year long, and the numbers that she's put up and the defense that she's played, I think gives her the resume to be able to win National Freshman of the Year.
Those numbers speak for themselves. Sends it into center field. Jennings has to retreat and just gets it about a step in front of the wall.
When it comes to pitching to Gisele Beecham, you know that she loves to drive the ball deep. And out there in the outfield, Jennings is so good at tracking the ball. And because she's at home, she's pretty familiar with where the wall is. So she braces herself to be able to just give it a little nudge and ring in the second out.
Good contact for Beecham, but just allowed out. And now here is Kalei Harding. Had a solo home run in that 2-0 win against Notre Dame in the quarterfinals. And did the best in their series against Duke. She went 5 for 11 with 5 RBIs in the 3 games. Even though they dropped 2 out of 3.
There's that changeup. We know that she tunnels it well with her drop ball. So far, her drop has not been able to locate competitively. So that changeup, throwing that in there, you know that's going to give her some confidence in the circle. Man, that's nasty. And when she's able to throw it and it looks like the drop, it's hard as a hitter to be able to track it. It has very similar spin to her drop ball, so it fools the eye thinking it's coming in with a lot more velocity than it is.
Now ahead of Harding 1 and 2. Good stop there behind the plate.
Well, I like
Torres, great
I
catcher.
apologize, Pam. Torres back there gives so much confidence to her pitching staff, knowing that she is a wall back there. Now nobody's on, but by her blocking at this point in the game, it's helping Gisele Wright settle in the circle because that drop ball's still not locating quite yet.
Has to go down again as the count goes full.
Well, and if Gisele Wright is unable to locate that drop ball, it's going to be a short outing for her today. She led the nation with ERA, in her ERA, but it was because of that drop ball. So Torres right now trying to give her a ton of confidence to be able to throw that pitch low, but she needs to locate that at the knees, not at the dirt in front of the plate.
Foul ball. Fielded by Craig Wilson over there. Wright's ERA this year, 1.06, has lost just 1 game all season. And you see the numbers much better than last year.
The biggest improvement in that ERA over about a run and a half in terms of being able to keep them off the bases and prevent those runs from coming around.
Another full count pitch to Harding. High and tight. So says home plate umpire Tatum Stolting. Marissa Young is the head coach and has been here since 2018. Actually, before then, started the program a couple of years before that. They've been playing since 2018. We're the 2021 ACC tournament champs when they beat Clemson, and 2 10-inning games. Abby Dunning, the BC pitcher, ridiculous all weekend. They just got to her in the 10th inning, and then they beat Clemson in thrilling fashion in 10 innings yesterday. Vega, the defensive player of the year, throws it over to end the inning to get Torres and Strand. Harding, Duke coming up. Welcome back. Great shot of downtown Durham, where Duke University is located. Site of the ACC Softball Championship. That had been predetermined, and it just so happened that Duke had a great year. They're the #1 seed, and they are playing today and will face Allison Royalty.
As she had the start against Notre Dame, threw 4 innings in that one, 1 strikeout, 1 walk before being relieved. Threw just 61 pitches, Pam, and I think that's a whole lot more of a manageable number than what we saw Gisele Wright throwing a couple of days ago. Royalty in the circle, mid-60s with her velo, rise and drop are her go-to pitches, and has a changeup that can disrupt some timing, but it's still hit and miss. At times, if it can be trusted, that will be the difference maker in this one.
And a shakeup in the Duke lineup today. Deanna Jennings, who had been batting #9, is now in the leadoff position. That's where she was mostly last year. You might recall she broke her arm in the Super Regional. but she is now batting first. Claire Davidson, the player of the year in this league. Lifted in the air for Kennedy Hart. It was Davidson actually who led off yesterday, and coaches use different combinations, including Kelly Torres, starting with the Clemson series in April, and she had been the leadoff hitter until this tournament.
You're right, and making that change now, Marissa Young had talked about how she loved being able to keep the batting lineup so consistent this year, and now here at the championship, we're seeing some big changes.
And Claire Davidson, what a season for her. Not pitching, it's the first year that she hasn't at least dabbled in pitching, and her numbers have been really astronomical. In ACC play alone, she hit .507.
You have to throw very carefully around Davidson, because look at the way that her average has improved over the years. Her first 3 seasons at Duke, she was a pitcher as well as a defender and a hitter. This year, no pitching, and look at the way that those extra base hits and average have completely risen.
Royalty quickly falls behind 3-0. Royalty pitched in all 3 games against Duke in the regular season, did not do well. 2 innings, gave up 5 earned runs in 3 appearances. And that's 2 total innings in those 3 appearances. We're going to see, we'll be shocked if we have a complete game from Allison Royalty.
No, I would not anticipate that. You are going to see complete bullpen use today for Florida State. The one win that Florida State was able to get in the regular season actually came behind the arm of McKenna Reed.
One out walk for Davidson, and McKenna Reed, who they relied on so heavily, there she is. We talked to Coach Alameda right before the game, and she said McKenna still is day to day. She was literally unbeaten last year, one of 3 pitches to not suffer a loss in the country, had a sub-1 ERA, and they certainly have missed her.
She's only got 1 loss on this season, has great split in her strikeout to walk ratio. 87 1/3 innings thrown, and so far has not thrown in a couple of weeks.
Mina Vega steps in for the first time. She's the second baseman who was the defensive player of the year. Did not get a hit yesterday against Clemson, but won the game with the 2-run walk-off home run in the 10th inning against BC in the quarters.
And when you talk about clutch hitting, it was Vega who came through in the 10th. I mean, in that game, scoreless until the 10th inning, and the 1 hit by Vega was able to score not just her, but Davidson, who had led that inning off with a double.
Terrific pitching duel between Abby Dunning for BC and Gisele Wright, who threw all 10 innings for Duke in that game.
Well, behind the plate for Florida State, you've got Michaela Enfield, and if you notice on that right hand, she's got a bunch of tape. It's because during their series at Louisville, she broke that throwing finger in a moment of frustration, slammed her helmet down, and her finger got stuck. And because of that, had to sit out 9 games. They did not know if they'd be able to get her back, but talk about a player with grit. She started hitting as soon as the doctors cleared her, and then she said, "Coach, I think I can throw." And they put her back behind the dish during their midweek against Florida. I was so impressed with the zip that she had on the ball, not even using one of her fingers.
Some Royalty comes in trouble with her glove. And there's Lonnie Alameda does everything. Of course, she'll have a chance to talk to her pitcher when she gets out there as well, but we had a nice visit with Alameda, who is the pitching coach as well on this team, and the glove handler, glove wrangler.
You have to make sure that there's no foreign substance in that glove, because as the ball comes back, if there is something on it that could give an advantage to Royalty in the circle, you don't want to have anyone come out and say that you've done something wrong, but maybe you should put a little something in that glove right there. A little secret sauce. Hopefully she didn't cough before she did that.
So here we go, a 2-1 pitch to Vega.
And what you're seeing is a zone that is a little bit lower. Both of these pitchers, or This pitcher, Royalty, likes to go up in the zone and down, but so far that ball right above the belt, not getting called. So that information, very important, knowing that Royalty likes to use that rise ball you can lay off.
3-1 pitch driven into the gap. Chasing it down, Cassidy Curd for the second out. Now, Maya Burgess is batting cleanup today, but she has done it in the field and at the plate.
I've been so impressed with the play of this fielder. This was a game-saving play from left field. It kept it scoreless against Boston College. If that throw does not come in time, that game is over. And then the dive down the line, that's a scary dive to make, because if it gets past, it's all the way to the fence without any backup.
And she also scored the winning run yesterday in a play that had to be reviewed, originally called out. It was a lengthy review, and she was shaken up as she came in, hands first into the plate. But the freshman, so much talent, and how about Coach Young putting her in the cleanup spot today?
And I think it's a good spot for the way that she's been swinging it lately. She's stepping in with a ton of great swings, has had some good looks at the plate. She's still looking for that first hit, but she's a trusted bat.
Gets the bunt down, Beecham, so good. Gets it over to Flaherty, who was covering to end the inning, and Strand Davidson. We are scoreless after 1. The top 2 seeds going against each other. Kerr stings it. That's going to go all the way to the wall. Jackson ties the game. And it drops in front of Jackson. Flaherty scores the winning run. The walk-off victory for the Seminoles. Back-to-back championship for the Seminoles. Bethany King scored Devin Flaherty with that game-winning run. And you take a look, Florida State's been around a whole lot longer than Duke. They are going for their 20th championship. Duke for number 2, in the second straight year they played in the title game.
Yeah, 19th championship. Are you kidding me? They're looking to make it an even 20 this year.
Lonnie Alameda has won 9 of those. Joanne Graff, for whom the softball field is named back in Tallahassee, won 10. What a program, dominating the ACC. We'll see Devin Flaherty after Edenfield hits. And again, you see that finger that's wrapped up. Cut that hole for her in her batting glove. Wonder if Lonnie did that too.
When you said she was the glove...
She's the glove wrangler.
Wrangler,
yes.
There you go. I couldn't remember the way you stated it. No, you know Lonnie Alameda is there for her players. One of my favorite things that she does for each of the members of this squad is every single year makes a memory book for each of them. It was one of those things that she shared with us when we were on campus. It actually brought me to tears. The amount of thought and care that went into personalizing each of those books, handwritten notes. I think your favorite was the lineup card from when the
Kaylee Harding's very first hit, and she kept the lineup card and put it in the book for her. It's almost like a 3D book, lots of fold-out stuff. It's a lot of time and energy and love go into it. Edenfield just got under it. Grabbed by Davidson for the first out of the second inning.
The second baseman, number 9.
The premiere of Full Court Press continues Sunday. That's tomorrow on ABC and ESPN Plus, the docuseries with a great behind-the-scene looks at the lives of the one and only Caitlin Clark, also Camila Cardozo, and current UCLA star Kiki Rice. Episodes 1 and 2 today, 3 and 4 at 12:30 and 1:30 Eastern on Sunday. Much anticipated debut of Caitlin Clark coming up on Tuesday night, playing at Connecticut. Sold out Mohegan Sun Arena. They have had to move games to bigger arenas to accommodate all of the ticket sales.
Are you going to the game, Pam?
No. I will be traveling somewhere to work in a regional with my favorite animals.
Aw, thanks, Pam. No, we're excited for Selection Sunday, knowing that not only do the teams get excited about figuring out where they're going to go, but you and I kind of sit on pins and needles trying to figure out where we're going to be able to call the next round of softball games.
Selection Sunday is tomorrow night. Check it out, 7 Eastern on ESPN2 with more analysis followed by 7 innings live. So we will all find out together tomorrow night. All the championships will be played today. That's a foul ball. And you see the current RPIs, Jen. So Duke, no matter the result today, got to be a lock, you think, for a top 8?
I would put them in the top 8. I think they will get a top 8 national seed, which would give them the chance to not just host regionals, but also supers if they're able to advance past those other 3 teams that come in to Durham.
And Florida State right now in position. And again, the RPI doesn't dictate everything, but it does weigh heavily in the decision-making and the seeding. But Florida State, and we talked to Lonnie Alameda, Wright strikes out Flaherty, and Torres makes it official. And we said, you know, Lonnie, if you win this tournament, you win today, do you think you should host? And she's like, yes, I think we have the body of work to do it, but right now this is the RPI top 16.
And they sit above 16, which you think would give them that. And even a loss to Duke is a quality loss because Duke's sitting at 4 in the RPI. But then you look at the rest of the field for the ACC, and the concern becomes how many more of those teams are going to be able to make it into the postseason, knowing that their RPI is sitting a little bit lower than usual.
And Alabama had an earlier exit than expected in the SEC tournament. We've seen some kind of funky things before, so we will all wait and find out officially tomorrow night. Here's Cassidy Curd. Janai was 1 for 7 in the 3-game series against Duke in the regular season. Again, Gisele Wright got both of the wins. And not only did she get both of the wins, she pitched 10 2/3 innings in 2 games, ERA .66. So she has gotten the better of Florida State, certainly in the regular season series.
While you look at those RPIs, that is one of the components of that the committee looks at to be able to place teams in the top 64. There are 32 automatic qualifiers coming out of each of the leagues, but then they go to this rubric of figuring out where can we seed. And if you look at those bottom teams, Virginia, I think, has put themselves in a pretty good spot this season with a 30 RPI. Louisville, though, with a 50 is next, and I think that's just beyond where the bubble will reach. Last year, Notre Dame was able to get in with a 45. So I think 50 is just a little too deep. I don't know that they're going to be able to make the postseason.
Vega, the defensive player of the year, does it again. Amina Vega going far to her right, throwing against her body, and still got her.
Gotta love a second baseman that can not just make the play up the middle with the glove, but can come away with a huge throw with their momentum going the wrong direction. Yeah, baby Vega, defensive player of the year in the ACC.
One of the cool things on campus here at Duke, yes, they have their own lemur center, founded in 1996, houses over 200 lemurs and bush babies, and it's the largest collection of them outside their native island of Madagascar. About 35,000 people visit this lemur center each year, and they get to see them just kind of hang out and chill as well.
And when I heard there were lemurs on campus, I thought, oh, Zaboomafoo, but I didn't realize how many different species they house at that habitat.
And the live lemur who played, whoever you just said, was named Jovian, and footage of him was shot right here at the Duke Lemur Center.
Of course they were.
But it's really cool. Todd Koulis, our producer, got all that footage for us on the first day here. In Durham, we are scoreless in the championship game. Anna Gold leading things off against Allison Royalty. Royalty had 15 pitches in the first inning, but only 5 of them were strikes.
Yeah, we saw both of the pitchers on both sides of the ball kind of struggling to find the zone early on.
Royalty did surrender a walk in that first inning. Anna Gold picked up by Torres. And this infield defense, come on, you got 2 freshmen, true freshmen on the left side, then you got Devin Flaherty, playing second, so they're not shabby either.
Well, and if you think about it, Amaya Ross, she is a junior, but has been a pinch runner for most of her career. So over there at first base, the only veteran you have on the infield is Flaherty over there at second. Isa Torres with a huge play at short.
And now Kelly Torres comes up in the 6th slot in the lineup today. Very, very good defensive catcher. And one of the leaders on this team, has been a mainstay for head coach Mercy Young. And there's one of her biggest fans, Dad, with the Kelly Torres shirt.
Good. And Pam, when you and I were on campus at Clemson covering that Clemson-Duke series, we were so surprised to see Torres in the leadoff slot. It was the only time she had ever been there, but did so well that she then stayed for quite a few games. Actually didn't change until they got here to the championship.
Torres, though struggling, is looking for her first hit of this ACC championship. Dropping down to 6th. Two-one count. Right back to Royalty, who calmly gets it over to Ross. So a couple of ground ball outs to start off the second.
The shortstop, number 25, Jada Baker.
So some tickets already punched. Congratulations to all of these teams. The Great Danes of Albany have gotten in. And there you see everybody else: Charlotte, Dayton, Siena, Southeast Missouri, BU, Southeast Louisiana, and Jackson State out of the SWAC. And we will see where they go tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, on the selection show.
Yeah, welcome to the postseason. You wipe the slate clean after conference tournaments and after regular season, and you've got to be able to just enter the rest of the postseason with a clear head, not carrying any baggage from the regular season.
Jada Baker shows bunt. She had an RBI double in the win over Clemson yesterday. Again, Duke beating Boston College, BC 1-0 in 10 innings. And then going 10 innings to win yesterday. So they beat BC 2-0, pardon me. It was a 2-run walk-off home run. A couple of 10-inning games for the #1 seed and the regular season champs. Royalty again. Very efficient inning. Only had to throw 11 pitches to get 3 ground ball outs. Scoreless after 2. Here's footage from yesterday in Tallahassee where a tornado touched down. This is from campus. Parts of the baseball stadium wall was damaged, and a lot of and this is the most intriguing video. Josie Muffley, who is the shortstop here, this is her apartment, and she is a firefighter there and went in and took that. And head coach Lonnie Alameda said that part of that damage, she told us this yesterday during the live interview, that damaged bed, that is Autumn Belvi's bed, who is an outfielder and a pinch runner here. And unfortunately, very fortunately, she was not home when that hit the bed about 4 in the morning.
Yeah, because of this tournament, they were here. Had it not happened with them out of town, she would have been in that bed, because Josie Muffley was actually like on duty. Yes. So she wasn't home to have gotten the alert and gotten her roommate to safety.
So still sending, and Coach Alameda sent out a tweet yesterday, and certainly everybody hoping that everything's okay. And the good news, the softball stadium was not damaged, and Coach Alameda says it should not affect them hosting. They get that top 16 seed. Amaya Ross leading things off against Gisele Wright here in the 3rd. The only issue that she said is the possibility of hotel rooms being full of people who have been displaced out of their homes. And what a pair they were, right, Muffley and Coach?
Yeah, and there's firefighter Muffley with Coach Alameda.
Keeps in touch with a lot of her players, most of them, as Ross takes one for a strike. Autumn Belvi is number 14. She is the one who's going to go home to an apartment that's messed up, but thank goodness there were no injuries there. On a goal from her knees! Almost! Boy, what a play. But Amaya Ross, who has been a terrific pinch runner, is so fast. She would have gotten just about anybody else.
She was a pinch runner prior to this season with a ton of stolen bases. So getting down the line, that's what she's used to being able to do. But that play by Anna Gold, we saw her make one from her knees earlier in this tournament. That one, she tried to get to her feet, and I think that added extra second is what gave Ross time to get down the line.
Now, Kennedy Harp, who is the starting center fielder for the third straight game, swing and a miss. That's a foul ball, so Ross will have to come back to first, but really just about anybody else other than Amaya Ross would have been out on that play.
Especially within this Florida State lineup, knowing the way that they run, they do have some speed, but if you're talking about just straight up being able to fly, that's Ross. And now with her on first base, you can anticipate seeing her in motion. We've not seen a ton of stolen bases this season, knowing that that play over at first base is reviewable. So they often go to review and will get those potential stolen base opportunities wiped off the board. We're seeing a lot of nicked up balls, Pam.
Yeah, a lot of issues with the softballs early on in this game.
And when you disrupt timing, you hit it off the very end of the bat. And when you do that, sometimes it'll put a nick in the ball, and because of that, it can be an added benefit to the pitcher, so they will take those out of play.
The infield single by Amaya Ross is the first hit of the game for either team. And as Jenny mentioned, Ross is just a terror over there on the base path. She's stolen 28 bases in 30 attempts this season, and was going on that last pitch that Harp fouled off. And going again, throw down, and she is out! Kalei Torres gunned down Ross.
What an absolute rocket from Kalei Torres back behind the dish. She has not allowed that many stolen bases this year. Just 19 on the season have been able to advance. And that throw beats Ross by at least 2 steps. The tag is applied super high. I'd like to see that tag applied a little bit deeper. That's a great job by Torres back behind the plate. And as a senior this year, she has stepped in and done such a good job for this Duke squad, being able to stay composed, speaking out a lot about mental health awareness. She has worked on that in herself. That failure recovery has become such a strong point for her.
And then Harp goes down swinging. Second strikeout for Gisele Wright.
Yeah, you know Wright's gonna throw the ball down in the zone. The hard part is it starts high enough that you think you're gonna catch up to it, but she pulls the string, and by pulling the string, you're way out in front. There's no way to catch up.
The first time through the order, 1 walk, a couple of strikeouts, just 1 infield hit against Wright. Here's Mudge, who started things off by flying out. And you talk about Kalei Torres, that's only the 18th time someone has run on her, and she has caught 11 of the 18. Very good percentage. Now the 1-0. We saw the Mudge family when we were all trying to escape the downpour yesterday when we left the stadium. A lot of her family making the trip. That's playable for Tapia. 12-pitch inning that time for Gisele Wright. Everybody's playing for this gorgeous trophy. Welcome back. We are on the campus of Duke University for this ACC Championship. Just got to look at Cameron Indoor Stadium. And we're at the softball field. Blue Devils everywhere. And Frankie Frelich is about to lead off here for Duke. And she comes from a ball and bat family. Her brother Sal was a first-round pick 3 years ago for the Brewers and was actually in the clubhouse watching the end of Duke's game yesterday.
Yeah, sent in some pictures
for us to be able to show you, but it was a really difficult look, and so we're just grateful that they're watching and supporting Frankie.
Frankie thrown out by Isa Torres to start things off here in the third. That is now 5 straight ground ball outs tossed by Allison Royalty.
Well, and Freelick is another one of the catchers on the Duke squad that is given some time back behind the dish to help out Torres. So while they've only allowed 19 stolen bases, Freelick part of that battery back behind the plate.
Gisele Tapia, the first baseman, batting 9th today. She batted 6th yesterday in that win against Clemson. Missouri and Florida coming up next on ESPN2. Both of those teams had to win twice yesterday to get to this championship because of the torrential rains down there in Auburn, but they're somehow back on schedule, and they will be after us. And then after that, we got the Big 12, little OU Texas action, and then the Pac-12 for the final time.
And by final time, you mean really final time. That's the end of the Pac-12 at the end of the season.
1-2 to Tapia, who fouls it back. Gisele 1 for 9 in the 3 games against Florida State in the regular season.
But maybe the more important piece of her offensive year is the fact that she's only got 6 strikeouts on the season. So very hard to strike out. Puts the ball in play all the time.
Does that. Ross. A lot of grounders being rolled.
Well, with Royalty, it's either going to be a ground ball or a fly ball, or you're going to square it up. We've seen Royalty give away home runs because as a rise ball pitcher, what happens is you give yourself a flat rise ball, which typically gets out of the yard really fast. Royalty's given up 8 home runs on the season in the 60 innings she's pitched.
Jennings flew out to center her first time out, so first time through the lineup for Royalty. She allows no hits, just 1 base runner. That was a walk. But she has had only 2 first pitch strikes to the first 10 batters she has faced. Stung towards the Duke dugout where Marissa Young is sitting. Marissa Young, for the last couple of games, came out of the dugout to coach third when they had those 10-inning comebacks. And today she's staying in there the whole time. Taylor Wyke, her first-year assistant, who was such a good player at the University of North Carolina, is going to be at third base all game. There's Taylor. Superstitious much?
I would be too. I mean, Taylor took third base when they won their first 10-inning game on that huge 2-run shot by Amina Vega. So yesterday, they went to extras, and all of a sudden, Taylor Wyke back in the third base coach's box, another win. She said, yeah, we're going to just start there and see if we can score a little earlier than the 10.
Yeah, and not go 10, which they did for the first 2 games here. Taylor in her first year. She spent 4 years as an assistant at Charlotte before she came over to Duke to wear a very different blue than when she played. 3-1, hit on the nose, but right at Kennedy Harp. Still scoreless here in the ACC Championship. We've got Lonnie Alameda on the other side of the break. You are watching the ACC Softball Championship on ESPN, and we welcome in head coach Lonnie Alameda from Florida State. Not a lot of offense so far. Liking what you're seeing from Royalties. Just looking good to us.
Yeah, competing, mixing speeds, hitting locations. I got a good hitter zone right now, so pitchers are really working that. So yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Well, and the problem is the same thing's happening on the other side of the ball.
Yep.
What adjustments do you need your hitters to make against that drop ball pitcher?
I mean, she's a great pitcher, mixes speeds, tunnels, you know, the drop and the change pretty well. So, I mean, got to get the ball up in the zone. Easier said than done, you know, second time through, third time through, maybe make some adjustments. But we knew it would be a dogfight right now, and, you know, she's great what she does.
Okay, Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. you.
Yes, it's the third time that they have faced Gisele Wright. She beat them twice during the regular season, but Allison Royalty, boy, just terrific through the first 3 innings.
Yeah, you know that she's going to go up and down and throw a little change, and as long as she's able to hit her corners, her defense has been able to stay really solid behind her.
For Florida State.
So 3 innings in, no runs on 1 hit, and no errors for Florida State. Nothing across for Duke, as we get a look at Gisele Beecham for the 2nd time. Flew out her first time up, the ACC Freshman of the Year, against the ACC Pitcher of the Year. In the regular season, she was 4 for 10 against Duke with a double and a triple, but just 1 RBI.
And Pam, the only hit that Beecham has in the tournament so far is a double. It was hit yesterday. They are pitching very carefully around her at the end of the season now that they've got the book that says don't pitch to Beecham. And that drop ball misses big so often, so having Torres behind the plate so important. But when it comes to Gisele Wright, locating that ball at the knees is so important. But she can't miss down the middle of the plate. That drop ball is so much better when she's able to locate it on the corners.
Now she goes to 3-1 on Beecham with Harding on deck. Not close. Second walk surrendered by Wright. So we just saw 2 award winners here. Duke almost swept them if it wasn't for Beecham getting Freshman of the Year. Claire Davidson player, Vega defensive player. We've already seen a spectacular play from her today at second. And Marissa Young taking care of the Coach of the Year award.
Yeah, with the highest seed that they've ever had in program history. She has stepped on in her 7th season and they've already won a tournament championship back in 2021. This year, trying to break out of Super Regionals and make it to the Women's College World Series for the first time.
Yes, they hosted Super Regionals for the first time last year, but ran into Nigeri Kennedy and Stanford and lost here on this field. Harding walked her first time up. Now, Kalei Harding on Thursday.
Yeah, Notre Dame, big shot, center field, no doubter. Not a lot of scoring in that one, Pam. So for her to be able to step in, that gave them the 2-0 win. Also
a solo home run from Kennedy Harp. That was it, as they were able to eliminate Notre Dame. And Notre Dame has been to the NCAA tournament 24 straight years, and that probably will be broken this year. Harding's going to leave Tallahassee with her name all over the record books.
She's been a staple for them in the lineup.
That is pounded. Harding with the line drive home run, her 2nd homer of the championships. And Florida State breaks on top.
Well, what did Coach Alameda say she needed her hitters to do? Find a ball that was elevated in the zone. You know that Gisele Wright loves to throw the drop ball. She loves to break it in at the knees. She likes to throw the changeup to disrupt your timing. But look at the location of that drop down the middle of the plate and thigh high. If you are a big hitter, that's the pitch you want, knowing that you're not going to get a ton of them. You have to capitalize on them. Kalei Harding coming away with her 14th home run of the season and her 2nd home run here in the tournament.
And now sits at an even 60 RBIs on the season. Just the 2nd hit of the game for Florida State.
And Pam, if you think back to what are the keys of this game, you've got to eliminate the extra base hit for Florida State. They do not, and Florida State with the 2-run advantage.
Now Issa Torres, who like Beecham is on the all-freshman team, Torres, second team all-conference, had a couple of hits. A couple of pretty big hits yesterday, wouldn't you say, against Georgia Tech? A double and then the grand slam?
Yeah, she's all right.
A 9-run inning to take out Georgia Tech, who had upset Virginia Tech the day before in the quarterfinals. It's just the 7th home run that Gisele Wright has given up all season. As you mentioned, a heavy drop ball pitcher, but that one was elevated and Harding stung it.
When pitchers make mistakes, your job as a hitter is to capitalize on those mistakes. They make mistakes all game long, and a lot of times you see the bat sitting on the shoulder. But if you're able to get that bat off, find the right timing, it'll sail. That's your job as a DP. Harding stands in this lineup in the 3rd slot because of average and because of the power that she holds.
Full count. Another play for Vega. That one sails high. And Torres is safe.
Well, the reason Vega was able to make that previous play up the middle is because it was stung a little bit harder than this. The high hop up the middle is difficult because a second baseman has to charge so hard that they get in front of the baseline, which requires them to open up that left shoulder so much to throw on the run. It's a difficult throw to make with a ton of velocity.
And Torres, who runs very well, credited with the infield single, sends up Edenfield. Flew out to right in her only at bat so far. The flags are very quiet out in left field. Edenfield sends it into right. Torres gonna get to 3rd. They're waving her home as the ball got all the way to the wall. Edenfield scrambles back to clutch onto 2nd base after driving in Torres.
Big-time players come through in big-time moments. When you've got speed on first base, Edenfield takes advantage on a pitch. Down and away. She lets it travel and keeps the barrel back, driving it all the way to the right side. With Claire Davidson out there in right field, that is different. We normally see her in left, but Issa Torres fast, and with the bobble out on the wall in right field by Davidson, it gives Torres a chance to get all the way around.
So Cassidy Curd comes in to relieve Gisele Wright after the 2-run walk, a 2-run homer by Harding, infield single, and then the RBI double by Edenfield. New pitcher when we come back. So Gisele Wright exits after pitching 3 innings and then facing 4 batters. Gave up the home run to Harding and then the RBI double now to Edenfield. So she leaves and Cassidy Curd comes in to take over.
And Curd threw yesterday against Clemson. She threw 7 1/3 innings, throwing 94 pitches. But one of the coolest things about softball is you can throw back-to-back days with a ton of pitches. Those arms are resilient. Curd will step in, ton of velo, curve to both sides. But you never know where that movement will take you.
And the first batter she faces is Devin Flaherty, who struck out swinging against Gisele Wright. And by the way, that home run by Harding is the first home run Florida State has hit against Duke this year. In the 3 games in the regular season, they didn't hit any home runs, which is really unusual for them. But the Duke pitching staff, one of the best in the country, coming into today's game with a 1.51 ERA as a staff.
And Pam, that 1.51 is about a half a run better than where they were a season ago. So while they aren't hitting as many home runs, they're actually keeping the opponents to less runs. And so as they continue to figure out where their offense needs to sit in a comfortable spot, the pitching staff has kept the games so close.
Flaherty down 1-2, swinging away. That will get Edenfield over to the third as Vega sends it over for the first out of the fourth inning.
And with Flaherty, you know that the lefty Curd loves to throw it inside to those left-handed batters. Flaherty got jammed up, but that jam job taken to the right side is able to advance Enfield, who is now being relieved for a pinch runner.
Annie Potter comes in to take over for Edenfield, running at third base.
State number 22, Annie Potter. Batting for the Seminoles, the infielder, number 4, Gisele Curd.
Gisele Curd with an opportunity now to knock in another run.
And because of that runner on third base and one out, the defense will be crowded her. They will crowd her. They'll be inside the baseline, hoping for a ground ball to be able to hold Mudge over there at first base, or at third base, and get the out at one.
Kerr is 0 for 7 in this ACC championship.
Well, and big hitters like to swing at big pitches. The problem is Curd's got a really nice rise ball, and it will continue to go up through the zone for the swing and miss. So Potter over there on third. And when you get a vulnerable hitter to the rise ball, what do? You climb the ladder. So you have to be aware when you stand in there in an 0-2 count, you know Curd's going to try to exploit that ball up at your eyes. Because it starts belt level, you think, oh, this one's going to be hittable. But she's got really nice, sharp spin, great break. That typically is that swing and miss pitch up in the zone.
Went up again and got Kerr. First strikeout for Curd. And that's quite a difference, isn't it? You go from the drop ball of right and then that high stuff from Curd.
Right, because the drop ball is a pitcher's pitch. A rise ball is a hitter's pitch. The problem is if you are vulnerable and not staying competitive on the zone as a hitter, you're going to get that swing and miss every time, and Curd will be very successful.
Maya Wass had an infield single in her at-bat against Jayla Wright today. Cassidy Curd got a start in the regular season against Florida State, and she took the loss against McKenna Reed, who again is not available during this tournament and being called day-to-day.
And when we talked to Coach Lonnie and Lamita about it, she said she is day-to-day. We hope to get her back. But if you could give a message to the young parents out there of young softball players, let them play in multiple sports. Don't just have them in the circle day in and day out. Those overuse injuries don't show up until you're in college. And I think what's happening is you're seeing pitchers across the country with joints that are getting worn out, maybe prematurely, because players have specialized at such a young age.
And they play pretty much all year round, a lot of them. Here's the 2-1. Taken in for a strike.
And that's the hard part. When you face Curd, her pitches all look similar, and her movement is super jumpy, and it's erratic. So you don't know what's coming at you. It's unpredictable. So what makes her good and bad is the same thing, that unpredictability.
Now 2-2, trying to get him out of a jam. Ross just got a piece of it. Curd got the start yesterday in the semi against Clemson. Got a no decision and threw 94 pitches in that game. A lot of energy there, bounces around, as you said. A lot in the circle. 2-2 with Potter over at third, and she got her. How about a couple of strikeouts after a ground ball out? Curd gets him out of trouble, but Kalei Harding came up big again.
And special players, special teams, and big hits. Harding puts Florida State on the board.
Welcome back. This is the ACC Championship game on ESPN. And we are joined now by Marissa Young, the head coach of the regular season champion Duke Blue Devils. And you mixed up your lineup, your batting order a little bit today. What was the thinking behind that?
Deanna Jennings has been hot, so we wanted her at the top to get things going and get some runners on for Claire Davidson and Amina Vega.
Yeah, no doubt, and that's what needs to happen. When it comes to Cassidy Curd, that change in the circle, we love Gisele Wright, but what went into that decision?
You know, we knew we were going to have to mix things up with the Seminoles. They've seen us 3 times, and they started to get on Gisele a little bit, so want to go up with some velo and get some swing and misses.
All right, so plenty of time left. Thank you for your time, Coach. The ACC Coach of the Year, Marissa Young. And that is her husband, James. And boy, he has gone through to say some health issues would be the understatement of the century. First game that he's been able to attend in person, and it's terrific to see him at the ballpark.
Yeah, he was actually on life support at the end after the season ended last year in that super regional here at home against Stanford. A very scary moment. It was touch and go for quite some time. So excited to see him out here today.
He had 4 children, and a couple of them are really good softball players, right?
Yeah, they've got Braylon, Layla, Jelena, and Caden. All 4 of them very active. So you know Marissa Young's got her hands full, but they are all so grateful to have him healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Claire Davidson. It's not caught by Mudge, so Davidson takes a wide turn but has to go back to first. We're so used to Mudge making that catch, but Duke's got a leadoff runner on here in the 4th.
Well, and of course it's Claire Davidson, the ACC Player of the Year, who has focused so much on her offense this year with the best numbers she's had. Mudge is typically money defensively. That, Pam, is her 2nd error of the year, and they're giving it a hit. Of course they're giving it a hit. But that misplay out there in left, that's typically an out, and you can tell she's disappointed.
Now Vega comes up. She flew out her first time, and Kalei Mudge would be the first person to tell you that she absolutely should have made that catch.
Yes, for sure. And it just goes to show that I wish I played this season, not in the 90s when nothing was a hit.
Got her glove on it. Was not a routine catch by any means, but a single for Davidson.
Yeah, Vega was the hero of the game in their opener against Boston College with the 2-run home run. She scored Davidson on that walk-off home run. But I'm more impressed with the defense that she's been able to show this season, garnering that ACC Defense Player of the Year.
And we've seen a lot of it even just this weekend.
Yeah, a ton of plays. She covers so much ground laterally. That first step is so important. And the way that she's able to cover the hole up the middle with strong throws over to first base, that is such a difficult play with her momentum moving away from the throw. But the way that she's able to manipulate her body, throw on the run, different arm slots, it's shown that she definitely deserves that Player of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year award. I'm excited to see her career the rest of the way. Just a sophomore.
And Coach Young loves her, says she's just kind of happy-go-lucky out there, very steady. As we have a delay now. And we are working here with a 6-person umpiring crew, which has never happened before. ACC usually using 4 during this championship. SEC uses 3. Here we have twice as many here, and there is the list of where they are.
And so they're looking to see if the batter, Vega, was hit by the pitch. But look at all the way that we are able to bring this game to you here today. You can't see everything with the naked eye, so we do have review. Tatum Stolting back there behind the plate.
Review,
and you're
the batter did not pitch. That is Duke's first challenge.
And so Duke was actually the team that brought the challenge forward. It has been ruled that Vega was not hit by the pitch. That's a great call. Grateful that we have that replay review and 6 umpires to be able to get the calls right on the field, putting egos aside and making sure that we get it right.
Each coach gets 2 challenges until the 6th inning when the umpires can call for the reviews. And that's where they do all the work. Right here in the ballpark.
Yep, Aaron Golden is the replay review umpire.
That finds a hole for Vega. Davidson stops at second. So after going hitless through the first 3 innings, Duke gets back-to-back singles here in the 4th.
And if you know anything about outfield play for Florida State, you know you do not run on a ball hit to the right side, because there is a cannon for an arm out there. But because of those back-to-back hits, it looks as though we will get a pitching change in the circle for Florida State.
So Royalty exits after going 3 innings plus 2 batters. She's responsible for the 2 out on the base paths now. But she went through and did not surrender a single hit until the 4th inning, just 1 walk, as we will get a look at freshman Ashton Danley. Tomorrow's Sunday night baseball game, Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves take on Pete Alonso and the Mets. Series finale. Our coverage starts at 6 Eastern with Baseball Tonight. Sunday night countdown on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. But we have a lot more softball to come. Coming up next, the SEC tournament final. It will be Missouri against Florida. Missouri's never won an SEC tournament. Then the 2 big dogs as Oklahoma takes on Texas in the Big 12. And in the Pac-12, a rematch of last year's final. Utah upset UCLA last year, and they play again today.
Yeah, a ton of great softball coming up. I thought maybe we would see an Oklahoma State Texas matchup, but no, that wasn't about to happen as Danley takes the circle. We've seen Danley in every game here in the tournament. She threw 3 innings against Notre Dame and 3 1/3 against Georgia Tech. So now entering the circle again for the 3rd consecutive day. Danley will step in, throwing in the mid-60s. Loves to throw that curveball, or that curveball right into the right-handed batter. That changeup can be unpredictable, so she doesn't throw it in those tight counts, but expect to see her trying to jam up the right-handed batters.
And the first batter that she faces is Amaya Burgess. Scored the game-winning run yesterday in the 10th inning against Clemson. Squares to bunt. So Royalty still responsible for the 2 runners, but 3 innings and did not give up a hit until this inning. Just 1 walk, no strikeouts, and will be eligible to come back in and pitch later. Starters can re-enter in softball.
And you know she's frustrated having to be relieved in this one, but I love the way that she is on the fence, cheering on Danley, knowing that this pitching staff for Florida State has had to come together because each of them needs each other. Very few complete games thrown by the pitching staff this year at Florida State.
Yeah, it's not like it had been in years past. Catherine Sandercock last year was the pitcher of the year in the ACC, but Lonnie Alameda reminded us that Cat was kind of thrown into the fire a little bit earlier than expected. They had a transfer go out, and Cat took her lumps before she became an elite pitcher. And coach thinks that helps pitchers. So you have to kind of go through the fire a little bit to learn how to respond.
Yeah, Mackenzie Herzog left, and Cat had to take so many innings on her back. The last 11 seasons, their ERA has been top 20 in the country. This season, they have stumbled as these pitchers have had to learn some really tough lessons.
But still, a lot because of their offense and their good defense, they were in first place until late in the ACC season. Stumbled, losing 2 out of 3 to Syracuse to close it out. So the #2 seed here. And if they win this game, in good position to host a regional next week. At least certainly should be in the conversation. Ooh, Edenfield, she shook her hand a little bit after that. Again, playing with a broken or a surgically repaired finger that she broke.
Yes, was broken, surgically repaired, but still bandaged up. I don't know that she was shaking her hand as much as she was rubbing her thigh. I think it was a foul ball that she wore off of her leg.
I can't imagine. Whatever it was, it hurt.
Oh yeah, you get beat up back there. They call the catcher's gear tools of ignorance, but I tell you, that's just a tough spot to play. You know that you're going to wear a ton of balls off the chest. Danley, one of those pitchers that likes to fill the zone, but can be erratic at times. You lose your way, and that drop ball, got to be a wall back there for your pitcher.
Full count, there's nobody out. Ross makes the tag to get the first out, but the runners advance.
And Burgess has been beaten up this week. It was a tough slide for the game winner, and she went in head first yesterday, and the cage of her mask lit her up in her mouth. And on this tag, she stumbles, goes down hard. Burgess, an aggressive player and just a freshman, so I'm guessing her body can take it. If she's a senior, whew, take it easy there.
Well, last couple of times she's gone into bases, she has paid for it, but she got Davidson over to third. Vega's at second now for Anna Gold. Hit a hard hit ball last time up, but Isa Torres was able to gobble it up at short and throw her out. Anna Gold with the most home runs in Duke history, breaking Christina Foreman's mark. Foreman was one of the originals. Another good stop there for Edenfield.
Well, now you don't need to look for a throw. You just have to corral the ball back around home plate, because if you can keep the ball around home plate, you're not going to see an advancement from third.
Now Marissa Young is going to send in a pinch runner for Vega over at second. It is Aaliyah Terrell, excuse me.
And why do you put speed in over at second base? Because a ball that makes it to the outfield, you want wheels to be able to touch and go around third base. Taylor White, the third base coach, we have seen her very aggressive in her approach. And so as she, the assistant coach now in the third base box, looking to put some runs on the board and get rid of those goose eggs.
So Terrell now at second. There's a swing and a miss by Gold.
It's that nasty changeup, Pam. We've seen it from Danley this entire tournament. She's thrown it all year long, but it has gotten so good here at the end of the season. That's the second changeup that has been thrown to this batter. Edenfield able to just be so good back behind the plate to keep the ball in front. She doesn't have to catch it. She simply needs to block it up and keep it near the plate. A deflection that gets away from her will result in a run and an additional runner over there at third base.
Two.
Proud grandpa, Bill, sitting up in the stands.
Yeah, we saw him last year at Notre Dame at the ACC Championship there, and he is here again.
We apologize, Bill, but you're going to be famous again. It's going to be hard to walk around town. Oh, man.
Anna just got under it. Gold flies out to Harp. The tag from Davidson gets the first Duke run, but she just got under it.
Yeah, barely missed it. Grandpa happy with the sac fly because it puts Duke on the board. And I like the way that over there at third base, Davidson was very cautious, not hesitant in leaving, but made sure there was a solid pause between catch and her foot leaving the bag so that it was not in question as to whether she needed to be reviewed. That throw by Harp good into third base to prevent the pinch runner from coming over and taking third.
So now 2 away, a run in. Terrell still at second for Kelly Torres. Bounce back to the pitcher, her first time up. Cleanly hit in the left field. Taylor White sends her, and she is safe. Terrell, the pinch runner, scoring all the way from second.
Kelly Torres, who was hitless in the championship, 0 for 8 coming into today. Did not get a hit in her first at bat, so she was 0 for 9. And look at the way she tattoos the ball out to left. Mudge has a strong arm, but the throw is offline, and because of that, look at that, Terrell's wheels. Hitting third, no hesitation, and a great slide on the outside part of the plate. Let's go! We're now sitting 3-2.
As you mentioned, the first hit for Torres, and what a big one it was. And Taylor White, who was coaching over there at third for Marissa Young, was in the dugout now, taking the gamble, and it paid off.
I don't know that Marissa Young will ever coach third base if she's going to have that kind of luck with White out there in the box.
Jada Baker now. So both of those runs that scored will be charged to royalty. Those runners inherited by Danley. And that has been called an RBI single for Torres, advancing to second on the throw.
When it comes to Jada Baker in the box, she actually loves to hit the changeup. Her average on a changeup up above 300. So her average on a changeup is better than her overall average that was sitting at 259 coming into today. Coach Young has so many wonderful things to say about Jada Baker. Talks about how she's first to the field, she sets up practice, she's the last to the field. She's the one that leads by example in this squad.
2-2. Another changeup that's popped up to Flaherty to end the inning, but a great response after Florida State put 3 on the board in the top of the 4th. Duke comes back with 2 in the bottom.
Gotta love scoring. When you've had goose eggs for quite some time, you've got to be able to make it happen. It was a sac fly and a big Kelly Torres hit with Terrell coming around to score the second run.
The premiere of Full Court Press continues tomorrow on ABC and ESPN+. 4-part docu-series with some great looks in the lives of Camila Cardoza, Kiki Rice from UCLA, and yes, Caitlin Clark. Episodes 1 and 2 today, 3 and 4 tomorrow at 12:30 and 1:30 Eastern on Sunday. And there's a Caitlin Clark fan wearing one of her From the Logo t-shirts. Caitlin, the first overall pick, playing for the Indiana Fever this year.
How are you not a Caitlin Clark fan?
She's good.
She's so stinking good.
Very poised, is really, I mean, a lot on her plate, a lot of pressure, and she has handled it all very well, selling out buildings all across the country. Speaking of sellouts, this is a sellout. Look at that berm, Jan. There's hardly any green we can see.
This is my favorite time of year. Good weather, good softball, and lots of fans coming out to support.
Gold throws out Hart in a nice play to start the 5th. Pam Ward and Jenny Dalton-Hill joining you on a nice sunny day as we hit the top of the hour here at the Duke Softball Stadium. Top 2 seeds in the ACC. Florida State with 3 runs in the 4th inning, and Duke responding with a couple in the bottom of the 4th after they did not get a hit through the first 3 innings. Cassidy Curd relieving Gisele Wright in the circle, facing Kalei Mudge for the first time today.
Mudge has had a very good tournament. This is the first time she's been hitless in a game, so she's due for this one. Came into this one 3 for 7, and as a leadoff hitter, she's been setting the tone her whole career at the top.
And we hear from producer Todd Koulis that they're still letting people come in. So even though it's sold out, there's still room for them to sit on the grass. And maybe some people watching at home thinking, hey, I got to get to the ballpark. This is a good one.
You better hurry. It's top of 5.
And it's a beautiful day.
Yesterday got a little scary at the end of that Florida State game. Clouds came in, the wind picked up. Within about 15 minutes of the end of our game, the skies unleashed and we had a ton of rain.
We had some lightning in the vicinity earlier. Yesterday, not close enough to shut down and take the players off the field. So been very fortunate with the weather this weekend here.
Thank you for knocking, Pam. I appreciate that. Other conferences not so lucky with the weather in their area.
Yes, both Florida and Missouri had to play 2 games yesterday because things got backed up with rain in the SEC tournament. 2-2. Mudge sends it into left field, but it's playable for Burgess.
That ball timed up pretty well, but off the end of the bat because of that, pretty easy play out there for Burgess. Not the highlight plays that we've seen out of her. She's been so good defensively.
She might have been able to make that play with her eyes closed. She's been so good out there.
Well, with the glasses on, we don't know. Maybe she did. Making it a little harder, keeping herself, entertained out there.
Beecham, who walked last time, up with 2 out and nobody on. So we'll see how Curd decides to go about it. Jason, he doesn't get a lot of pitches to hit typically in her at-bats.
And what you'll see is an evolution of a hitter, because the way that Jason Beecham has been swinging it as a freshman is going to create some off-season work for her to be able to go back and sharpen up the things that she's weakest on. Beecham doesn't have a ton of weaknesses, but everyone can always get better at recognizing change of speed, being able to stay in their legs, sit back, not let the power leak forward on those change of speed pitches. There's mom and dad. So my apologies, there's mom and dad.
Demetrius and Kidda, the mom. Very close family, and she gives Demetrius so much credit for helping her along her softball journey. And this is what Beecham can do, all the way to the fence, but just brought in by Jennings. Missed that, got under it by maybe another millimeter, that thing would have been gone.
Yeah, they talk a lot about launch angle. You want to be able to have the height, but you need another inch of distance. Beecham almost takes it deep. Jennings says, not on my watch. We're going to end the inning.
What an ACC championship game this has been. Florida State with 3 runs in the top of the 4th inning. Kalei Harding, 2-run homer. Michaela Edenfield followed with an RBI double. And then 3 runs for the Blue Devils in the 4th inning. Gisele Wright leaving as the starter. And in the last half inning, we had a home run brought back into the building on the catch by Deanna Jennings as Beecham launched one that would have given Florida State a 2-run lead. Instead, it's a 1-1 cushion as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Francesca Freelick, known as Frankie to her teammates, leading off. against Ashton Danley, who is the second pitcher we have seen for Florida State. She came in the 4th inning after Royalty allowed back-to-back singles to start things off.
When Free Lake ended the game yesterday on a bloop single over the head of the pitcher in between her middle infielders, it was an aggressive run by Amaya Burgess that was able to score the walk-off.
That happened in the 10th inning against Clemson. Duke also had to go 10 to beat Boston College in the quarterfinals. Flaherty throws out Freeland.
The first baseman, number 29, Gisele Tapia.
Knowing that the Seminoles have had to work as a group in the pitching circle this year, the departure of Kat Sandercock, everybody knew would send ripples through the pitching staff for Florida State. But I don't know that anybody thought it would affect McKenna Reed as much as it did. She started the year, she struggled. Her ERA jumped about 2 runs. So last season, an undefeated 13-0. This year, an ERA that was elevated to 3.37.
Ross handles Tapia for the second out. Danley doing a good job. First pitch strikes to 5 of the 6 batters that she has faced. Deanna Jennings coming up. She had some magic with the glove in the last half inning.
And to be able to make this catch, you have to time your jump perfectly, get to the wall, and leap just at the right time. She brings it back. Not only does it end the inning, but it keeps them within 1 run of Florida State.
Robbing Beecham of the home run. She already has 15 on the season to lead her team. Jennings back in the leadoff role, had been batting 9th. Was terrific as a leadoff last year as a freshman, but got hit by a pitch and broke her arm in the Super Regional against Stanford, and it did take her a while to get back to form.
And I don't know that she was moved out of the leadoff because of that injury. She was moved because her feet are typically out of the box when she runs through to slap. And so with that movement being so vulnerable to being called out this season, they have helped her become more of a swing away player to keep those feet in the box. And it's worked. Down at the bottom of the lineup, they put her back in at the top to see if it can create the same kind of momentum.
Takes a strike on the outside corner. Danley sets him down in order.
I don't know about this one, Pam. That was pretty low. Outside, she takes it. Communicate that one back to the dugout, because if that one's going to be a strike, everybody needs to know. We've got a good one going here in Durham. The scoring got started by Florida State. Kalei Harding, you know, she hit herself a little dinger. Scored 2, and then Michaela Enfield doubled to the wall, able to score Issa Torres. They were able to score 3 that inning. Duke responded, though, the bottom half of the inning, on a gold sack fly, pushed Davidson across, and then Kelly Torres, the catcher for Duke. Nice hit to the outfield and aggressive base running. The pinch runner Terrell able to score the second run. Duke still sitting 1 run behind.
Great crowd on hand to see this championship between the top 2 seeds in the ACC as we head to the top of the 6th inning. And Kalei Harding, who has hit a home run today. Also got one in the win against Notre Dame in the quarterfinals. Leads off against Curd. That one is sky towards Vega. He's got the glasses on. Vega, again, the Defensive Player of the Year in the ACC this season, which I'm sure warms the heart of all present and former second basemen.
I mean, I just know how hard it is to play that position. I moved over from shortstop to second base when I got to college, and it took me a solid year to be able to learn my coverages and how to make those throws with touch over there to first base.
Lisa Torres, the other freshman phenom, along with Beecham in this lineup. Infield single and then scored on Edenfield's RBI double last time up. That's out of play.
Florida State typically scores in bunches, and that's how it's been here today in the 4th inning. In the last 2 games, 9 hits, 12 runs.
They had a 9-run 4th yesterday as they came from behind to ultimately run roll Georgia Tech 10-2 in the semis. Curd sets down Torres.
Yeah, while last inning may have been a pitch that wasn't the best strike, this one right down Main Street. Torres, you got to get the bat off the shoulder for that one, because that one should have seen the back side of the outfield wall.
Edenfield was the last batter that departed starter Jayla Wright faced when she got her RBI double last time up in that 3-run 3rd. That's a tidy inning for Curd, just 7 pitches as she got Edenfield to pop out. Duke coming up in the bottom of the 6th. Coming up tonight at 8:30 Eastern, the Cavaliers host the Celtics in their Eastern Conference semi. They are tied at 1 game apiece. Coverage starts with NBA Countdown at 8 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. Look at the Cardinals at Duke University. And in celebration of the Celtics playing tonight, Matt Wilson, our director, found us a Boston Terrier.
I mean, that's going above and beyond. Our crew has been stellar this week. Todd Koulis, our producer, Matt Wilson, our director, Meredith Frito on graphics, Robin Segretti, AD. I mean, we've got a whole crew, and our camera guys have been troopers.
They've been doing every game.
Every game.
Operators, and hope today feels a little bit more pleasant. It was so stinking hot the first day. Claire Davidson, the ACC Player of the Year, could not catch up to that changeup.
Well, the problem is it wasn't about catching up, it was about slowing down. When that ball comes in, so much less velocity, you got to be able to just hold that barrel back. Typically, you don't want to see your big hitters swing at a changeup, though, before 2 strikes.
We have a change in left field. Kalei Mudge has been replaced by Autumn Belvi. And Jen, I don't know if I remember Kalei Mudge being taken out of the outfield before.
Not in the middle of a game. But we've also not seen the hiccups that Mudge has done this last half of the season. She had a throwing error the last couple of weeks out and left, bringing a ball in, allowing advancements on the bases, and then that miscue out and left. It was not ruled an error, went down as a hit, but she knew that she should have caught it.
Mudge stays in the game, has been moved to DP, so she was still hit, but Belvi is now out in left field. Claire Davidson has been on base twice today, walked, singled, and scored in the 2-run 4th inning. In fact, it was her hit that was the first of the game for the Devils. Full count. That's low. Somebody's going to get their ticket punched here between Florida State and Duke, and we welcome Miami, Ohio to the party as they have won the MAC, and that team, let's just say they hit home runs.
That is not a team I want to see coming into my regional, especially for my pitchers, because
You might as well just sign it off to airmail. They have hit the most home runs in the country. We're used to seeing Oklahoma with that one. Nope, not this year. It's all Miami of Ohio. They've got 2 hitters leading the country.
So congratulations to them. Here's Amina Vega up again. Also singled and scored in the 4th inning. Again, Selection Sunday is tomorrow. We will have that for you on ESPN2 tomorrow night, as there's a big-time meeting at the Circle.
When it comes to Vega, we've seen some big hits out of her this season, some great defensive plays, but maybe none bigger than the 2-run dinger. It was the walk-off against Boston College.
In the 10th inning.
In that game, you didn't know when it was going to end. Honestly, both of those pitchers, and I was so impressed with the way that Dunning threw for Boston College. I'd be surprised if we didn't see her on the all-tournament team, even though her team departed early.
Abby Dunning threw every pitch in the 2 games that BC played in the ACC Championship. They beat Syracuse 1-0, and then that heartbreaking loss to Duke 2-0 when Gisele Wright went the whole way for Duke and set a new Duke record, program record, with 17 strikeouts. A big up in a situation now with Davidson, the tying run over at first.
Wasn't it Peyton St. George that had the record before that? Took 10 innings to beat it.
Peyton St. George was on that first Duke team that got to the NCAA tournament.
Also part of that 2021 team that won the championship for Duke.
Beating Clemson in the tournament final. Vega just got a piece of it.
A changeup's so hard to hit because your barrel has to get ready to go off the shoulder so fast when you know that velocity's coming in. As soon as you recognize that the ball is a little slower, it's difficult to slow up the barrel. And Pam, that change out and left, I don't know that it happens because Mudge made a mistake. That's not how Lonnie Alameda coaches. That change is made to get her team ready for the postseason. I mean, you have to have backups at every position, whether it's injuries or a slump, whatever it is. Every one of your positions has to have somebody ready to go. And I think that change out there and left was simply to give Belvi an opportunity in a pressure situation, knowing that Mudge departs at the end of this year because she's a senior.
Belvi, we see her often as a pinch runner. She's got great wheels out there in left field. Jerseys behind her among the 4 All-Americans that Duke has, including who we just mentioned, Peyton St. George, Jamison Cable.
Deja Davis.
Deja Davis was terrific. And oh yes, Deanna Jennings, who is currently on the team. How about that, getting your jersey out there when you're still playing?
That's pretty cool. I didn't get anything like that until I was
You're on the wall.
Well done.
Jennifer Dalton was on the wall at the University of Arizona.
Yeah, the only way you get on the wall at Arizona is by being Player of the Year, so.
Oh, did you get that?
One time. I'm not as cool as like Danielle Laurie. She got it twice.
Got her.
Big pitches in that one for Ashton Danley. And I love the way that this freshman for Florida State has been responding to the pressure that she has been put in since the departure of McKenna Reed. This freshman staff for Florida State in the Circle has thrown over 40% of the innings. So with the way that this season has gone, Coach Lonnie Alameda says it may not be a pretty way to get through the season, but it's going to pay dividends in the end, knowing that these are the arms that we're going to trust for years to come.
Now Burgess faces Danley for the 2nd time today. And Lonnie Alameda is not a panicker. They had that rough patch that we have talked about in previous games at the beginning of the year when they gave up a ton of runs. And just kind of stay the course, as you said, coaching them up and making them understand that they will learn, you know, that the road's going to get smoother, but that they will learn from what they go through. And you see the way they started. They only lost 1 game in April, and the ERA was 5.39.
Well, that elevated ERA happened because of some Clearwater games. That tournament out in Clearwater, they faced UCLA where they lost 10-14, and then a Georgia game where they lost 10-20. More like football scores than softball scores.
Now Danley trying to quiet these Duke bats. The count goes to 3-1. Danley herself a true freshman. As is Burgess at the plate.
And I've tried to figure out this year why so many freshmen have emerged in opportunities to be successful. And I think it's become because the scouting on these players is not readily available. When you've got sophomores, juniors, and seniors coming up to the plate, you've got an arsenal of information against them. Freshmen, not as much, and so their weakness is not as exposed.
Walked her on the full count pitch. 2 walks surrendered by Danley in this inning.
When you've got a freshman that can keep her composure like that at the plate and be disciplined on the zone, you've got a good one, because sometimes the emotion of a game can get to you, especially with a 1-run deficit. Not as many outs to play with as the game progresses to the end. That's a solid at bat for the freshman.
Danley has thrown 21 pitches in this inning. A couple of walks and then the strikeout of Vega. Now Anna Gold, who can put a charge into a ball. Got the sac fly RBI out to center her last time up. And there you see the program record for home runs. Numbers down a little bit this year with just 8.
And yeah, last season she had 19 home runs, 56 RBI, led the team in both of those categories. This year, more information on her, pitchers throwing her a little bit better. Because of that, less home runs.
But that's right up the middle. Davidson comes around to tie the game.
Big player, big hit, big moment. With a runner in scoring position, she takes it right over the head of Danley. But when you leave a pitch down the heart of the plate, you got to hit her like gold up. You've got to be ready to play defense. She is going to tattoo that ball out to the outfield. Not only does it score a run, but now Pam, 2 runners in scoring position for Duke. And they've just got 1 out. Motoring around the bases, Davidson scores the tying run.
Burgess going from first to third. Anna Gold with the RBI single. Ends up on second on the throw. And yes, just 1 away to Kelly Torres, who has had some big hits in her career.
Well, and intentional walks, I feel like aren't used enough. Putting them on in this situation is so important. But Danley has not practiced this a ton. A lot of times we see pitchers who go to do the pitch out, the ball gets away. Some movement in the bullpen for Florida State. Emma Wilson up and throwing. You know that it's going to be all hands on deck today in the championship game.
The intentional walk loads him up for Jada Baker. First couple of games, just 1 for 7. Remember, they had to go to 10 innings in both games to win. 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position. 3 runs are in, 1 of them in this inning. And a to say the least, a very crucial time in this softball game.
Most definitely, and that's why Lonnie Alameda comes to the circle. This is an opportunity to not just calm down the defense, but give them a game plan, knowing that the bases are juiced just one out. So the defense potentially going to be pulled in to prevent the run and try to get the home to one double play. The other option she could go with is pull your corners even into the baseline, leave your middles back with the intent of turning a double play. Regardless, the outfield has to be ready to come up firing. They have to be able to field this or catch this ball in the air and deliver a strike to the plate.
Jada Baker popped out to second the first time she faced Danley today. Bases are loaded.
And knowing that, well, Pam, excuse me, knowing that the bases are juiced, the defense is really in the face of Baker, challenging her to hit it through them. And sometimes that can get in the head of a hitter, but they are all up in her grill, trying to take away a ball on the dirt.
Hoping for that so they can throw home and get the force. It's picked up by Flaherty. She goes home. It bounces. Edenfield can't grab it, so Burgess is safe.
Pam, an uncharacteristic hiccup by the solid defender at second, Flaherty. The throw comes out of her hand wonky, and when you're wearing a catcher's mitt, backhanding a ball is difficult to do because of the structure of the glove itself. You've got to be able to catch that ball in the air. She blocks it up, but that was a situation where she needed to be able to pick that ball for the catch. Without the pick, Duke with the lead.
Now Sarah Goddard will pinch hit for Freeland. The scoop play by Danley gets the second out.
And the unique piece about that one is there was no tag needing to be applied. And so as the bunt goes down, it just needs to be a situation where Edenfield makes sure that her foot is on the plate to get the force at home.
So a throwing error was given to Devin Flaherty that allowed Burgess to score. Tapia takes a hack. Bases are still loaded. 2 runs are in. Florida State, 2-time defending champion of this tournament. Down 4-3 with 3 outs to go. The last time they lost a final was way back in 2013. Usually when they get to the final, they win the darn thing. Remember in 2021, it was Clemson-Duke. And Duke was able to win that one.
And that was a situation where Florida State had stumbled at the end of the year, but still made a huge run in the postseason. '21, the only one that Florida State has not won in the last 9 years.
And Duke did beat Clemson when Clemson won the regular season championship. Tapia delivers some insurance runs. Coming in, 2 more across the plate for the Devils.
Why do you like to have the tournament at home, Pam? Because of this situation right here. The crowd making a difference, putting tons of pressure on the defense. Florida State coming away with some errant throws right now. Belvi, who replaced Mudge out there and left, That throw nowhere near on target, and then the throw to second base from Edenfield with that broken finger sails high, but luckily she had some backups out there in the outfield to bring the ball in. Duke, this is a big inning for them.
A big-time crooked number. They played it 4, and then Danley couldn't handle the bunt from Jennings. And the Blue Devils have batted around here in the 6th inning. Three of the 4 runs in this inning are unearned.
And when you watch Jennings, she is so careful to stay in the box with her feet, knowing that that's been something that she has been called out for so many times. Soft slap right back at Danley, can't handle it, loads the bases. More pressure for Florida State.
So Claire Davidson comes up for the 2nd time in this inning. She walked and scored the 1st run of the inning. ACC Player of the Year takes a swing and a miss.
And while her barrel missed location, she actually had that timed up pretty well, knowing that the changeup is going to come out of the hand of Danley, especially against her, one of the biggest hitters in the lineup.
Duke as a team this year has 7 grand slams. Lifted into the air, drifting back under the grass. Torres grabs it for the final out of the inning, but what an inning it was. Florida State now finds himself down 6-3. Duke just played it 4. Last chance coming up for the Seminoles. We are at Duke, and coming up after the game, there's the friendly wave from our All-ACC crew. Taylor Tannenbaum, Brittany McKinney, and Alex Powers will have all of the action, the interviews, the highlights from this championship, the All-ACC tonight, live from Durham at 10 Eastern Time. As you take a look at the score, I mean, Duke did not get a hit until the 4th inning, and here they are leading 6-3, just 3 outs away from what would be their 2nd ACC tournament championship. And that was a live look at Peyton St. George, who's rocking the On a Gold t-shirt today.
Gotta love that kind of support sitting in the stands. All-Americans supporting All-Americans out on the field. On a Gold with her merch.
Boy, Peyton was such a great pitcher for Duke. Bottom of the order up, Devin Flaherty trying to get things started.
Oh, if it was a Savannah Bananas, I'd be an out on the field.
Duke won this tournament in 2021. Just their 3rd full season of softball. Baker, 1 out.
Veteran move to be able to take that step back, allow the long hop rather than forcing yourself to catch the short hop moving forward.
Cassidy Curd really doing a good job coming into relief. Gisele Wright came in the 4th inning. And not only has she done a really good job, Cassidy Curd has not allowed a base runner since she came in. So I would say that's a really good job. Cassidy has thrown the first pitch strike now to the last 8 batters. This is Gisele Curd. Her 0 for 2 today, was struck out by Curd last time up. Sky high, Torres flips off the mask. Dukes one out away as Kalei turned toward the crowd after she caught the ball with a big old smile.
And as a catcher, you know you have to put your back to the infield because you got to make sure that you have that. Look at that. Look what I just did. We're 1 out away.
Amaya Ross. Cassidy Curd has faced 11 Seminole batters, and she has retired all 11 since coming in to relieve Gisele Wright. Curd, just a sophomore, first team all ACC. She and Gisele Wright, what a combination they have been on this very stout pitching staff.
Well, when you think about their combination, they're so hard to come at and prepare for because they're so different. Gisele Wright, hard, down, drop ball at the knees. Effective changeup that tunnels really well with that drop ball. And then Curd, she goes up in the zone with a bunch more velo, also has a nice curve. She's got a nasty changeup. And this moment right here, pretty special for Marissa Young.
There's Gisele Wright, who was the ACC Pitcher of the Year, got the start today, gave up all 3 runs, but Curd has certainly picked her up. Wright has done that for Curd in reverse order throughout her career as well. Duke, the regular season champs, for the first time.
That's the changeup, that nasty pitch. You will see that all postseason. This team is poised, trying to get to their first Women's College World Series.
Ross draws the 2-out walk, and that is the first base runner that Cassidy Curd has allowed since coming on with nobody out in the 4th inning.
Not only is it the first base runner, it's the first free pass that she's given. She has gotten the Florida State to swing and miss, strike out, ground out. Very effective with her movement here today.
You know, Hallie Waycaser pinch hits for Kennedy Harp, who was 0 for 2. Waycaser had a pinch hit single yesterday when she batted for Harp, and the semifinal win against Georgia Tech.
That was a hard hit ball into left. She came in off the bench, was able to square up a ball and put herself on. You've got to have these kinds of bats coming off the bench.
Duke a strike away. Coach Young bringing the positivity out there in the dugout. Waycaser off Curd's glove. Can she recover in time? Yes! It's the Duke double. The regular season champs are now the ACC tournament champion. And they do it in comeback fashion, scoring 6 unanswered runs. Curd shut them down in the circle, and they get the title.
Florida State got the early advantage, scoring 3 in the 4th, and I thought it was going to continue to be a Florida State hit parade, but Curd entered the game, shut everything down. Florida State unable to put another run up on the board, and the Duke bats got going. Huge 4th inning for them.
Lonnie Alameda is not used to this feeling. The last time they lost a championship game in the ACC was way back in 2013. They had won 8 of the last 9 tournaments. The one they didn't win, they were not in the final. It was when Duke beat Clemson in 2021. But my goodness, what a job by Curd to come in and shut down this potent offense.
And you can ask every coach across the ACC what the addition of Duke and Clemson have done to this conference. And you know what it's done? It's elevated everyone. So while Florida State was the perennial power, you can anticipate to see some different names emerging as these teams continue to improve and put pressure on the Seminoles.
And Gisele Wright, the senior pitcher of the year in the ACC, can now add ACC tournament champion to her resume as the Blue Devils take it. Cassidy Curd retired 13 of the 14 batters she faced, just that walk in the 7th inning. But she ends it all, and Duke made even sweeter. They win their tournament championship right here on their home field.
Well, and that last hit right back at Curd keeps her composure, able to still get the out. Duke, their 2nd time winning the conference tournament championship.
Cassidy Curd mowing them down and celebrating with Kelly Torres. Marissa Young's team gets its 2nd ACC championship, and they do it by taking down the 2-time defending champion and last year's national runner-up in Florida State, taking it by the final of 6-3. We will be back with more from Durham, where Duke celebrates.